Professor Henry Bwisa. I teach at Jomo Kenyatta University of Agriculture and Technology in Kenya. I teach entrepreneurship. I want to talk about how to construct a statement of the problem. I want to begin by saying that my article entitled How to Write a Statement of the Problem, which you can find at SlideShareNet, and also my YouTube animation on the same topic, which can be found at www.youtube.com, attracted many requests for me to provide more information on problem statement construction. This talk is therefore in response to the said requests by my good fans, whom I respect and appreciate a lot. This is part 1 of my talk. In this introduction, I will talk about the theoretical and conceptual aspects of a problem statement. In part 2, I will carry you through the actual construction of a problem statement. The part 2 will come as a separate talk from this one. Let's first understand the process of research. I want to say that all researches start with a problem statement. There must be a problem to be solved, hence the importance of problem statement. The research process, as we can see, must start with a problem statement and formulation of a research question. Then, from there, we go to the investigable hypothesis, which is a best guess or possible answer to the research question. And then we design the methodology. We go out and collect data. We analyze it and validate the same, and conclude by creating new knowledge or solving the problem. So, in red, you see the importance of the problem statement. If we get it wrong at the beginning, then the whole process becomes flawed. But research, indeed, is cyclical, and it's not a one-time act or an end in itself. Research creates more problems as it solves others. Hence, the word research. We can see top right, research. And at the bottom, somebody is searching. Therefore, research is composed of two words, re and search. And that's why we say it is cyclical. Re plus search. And we see the process as captured at that site, www.uk.searchpub.com. At the bottom left, the bottom right, we start by identifying a problem, hence the importance of problem statement. Then we write the statement of the problem. Then we may subdivide it into sub-problems, as the case may be. Then we formulate a hypothesis or questions. We collect data. We analyze the data. We identify further problems from the analyzed data and the conclusions made. That's why in many of the research reports, we always indicate areas for further research. And then we again write a statement of the problem, division of subproblems, and on and on. Indeed, as that figure shows, it is a spiral movement in space upwards. So research is a continuous cyclical process, hence the two words together, research. Now let us understand the process of research from yet another view. Again, we reiterate that all researches start with the problem statement and indeed the importance of the problem statement. So we can see in this diagram that research starts with a problem statement, and one, it aims at revising existing knowledge or creating new knowledge. As you can see the right hand side of this diagram. Research is systematic and follows a methodological design. Research is neither a catchword nor merely transportation of facts. Research involves collection of data, information, its analysis and interpretation, and finally, presentation of the research results. You go through this diagram from the right-hand side, starting at the aims of the research, what research is not, and indeed, this should be able to guide us on research process. Now, your problem statement or statement of the problem, as this is also called, is a brief description of the issues or the problem that need to be addressed by you, the researcher. The research problem introduces the reader to the importance of the problem, or what we shall call the concern. It orients the reader to the significance of the study and the research questions or hypotheses to follow. You could relate your problem to the findings of prior research, corroborated. The problem statement should place your problem in the context of what you want to talk about, what you want to research. Your research problem should provide a framework for reporting the results. What we are saying, therefore, is the problem statement is important. If you get it right from the beginning, your research and the results will be correct, will be right, will be useful, will be valuable. You get it wrong, then the entire process is wrong and would have wasted resources. An anonymous scholar said, the problem statement provides the context for the research study and typically generates questions which the research hopes to answer. That means the objective of the research. The problem statement is therefore important. I cannot tire repeating that. In considering whether or not you want to move forward with your research project, you will generally spend some time considering the problem. It is important to spend some time getting the right problem, framing it rightly before you go into the research. Otherwise, you stand a danger, a risk of reaching halfway and feeling like you want to start again. Now, here is the flow of ideas in a problem statement. It starts with their topic, and I've talked about topic and title in my other article, which you can find at my website, www.mukmik.co.ke. So the topic is your subject area, be it accounting, be it management, be it innovation. So your problem statement starts there. What's your topic? What's your subject area? Then it is a concern. It's an educational issue. a concern, a problem, something that needs a solution. That is the issue. So from the topic, you identify a concern in that topic, a problem that needs to be solved, or something that needs a solution. Then, evidence for the issue. You must provide evidence, probably from literature, from observation, from wherever, but there must be evidence from some practical experience that this is a problem, this is a concern. It should not just come off your head without support. Then you will have deficiencies in the evidence. In this body of evidence, what is missing? What do we need to know more about? That is when you now start generating the problem. There's evidence of this issue. There's evidence of something that needs a solution. But what gap, what focus, what niche are you going to look at? And then lastly, in our flow of ideas, as we generate our problem statement, remedying the deficiencies. For whom? Which audience? How will addressing what we need to know help, whether they are researchers, educators, policymakers, etc., etc. In other words, as we think about our problem statement, we must also look at the end. Who is going to use our results? Whose problem are we solving? This is therefore the general flow of ideas. Start with your topic, start with your subject area, look at the concern, look at something that needs a solution. Maybe you debated it in class, maybe you're in a seminar and you saw a deficiency, maybe you are in an attachment and you saw something amiss, and you must always provide evidence of that, what you're talking about. You must always identify the gap that you want to fill by doing a research, and you must identify who is going to benefit. Which audience are you addressing? Now, as you think of research, you select a situation and spot an incongruency or a gap between what is and what ought to be. Then you construct your problem to address what should be done to make it congruent. As you can see at the bottom right-hand side, the problem statement is what should be happening and what is actually happening. If there is a difference between what is happening and what should be happening, then there is a problem. But if there is no difference, what is happening is what should be happening, then there might be no problem. So let's see. Let's take a situation. For example, performance of small enterprises. That's the situation. What should be happening? What is the desired state? It may be we want small enterprises to cause high national employment and GDP. That is what we desire. That is what should be happening. But then, what's the current state of these small enterprises? For example, there may be high mortality rates. Now, what are the consequences if the status quo remains? If the high mortality rates remains, what will be the consequences? For example, unemployment, because small enterprise can't survive, and therefore employment is not created. And therefore you can see now the need for research, and the research could be factors that affect small and medium enterprise mortality rates. It could also be that there have been recent interventions in that situation, in the performance of small enterprises. For example, There may have been training. There must have been change of regulations. Maybe there has been funding. That is the current situation. But the results of these interventions are not known. SMEs or SME owners were trained, but the results are not known. Therefore, need for research, like the effects, the impact of training on SMEs' performance arises. What are we saying here? One, there is a situation. It could be employee performance in an organization. The desired state would be the organization to grow and be competitive. And yet, currently, employees are not motivated. And if they are not motivated, productivity is low. And therefore, the research becomes factors that affect employee productivity. Therefore, to repeat ourselves, get a situation, get the desired state, what should be. Probably you could get it from the objectives. National plans, for example. Strategic plans, for example. We plan to be here, but we are now here. The gap is evident. What is causing this gap, we don't know. Therefore, we want to know and bring out the remedies. You should be able, in your statement of the problem, to convince the reader in as few as 200 words or even less, 1 or 2 paragraphs. Your statement of the problem does not need to be 3 pages. 200 words are good enough. And of course, you will provide evidence that the problem is serious and needs to be studied. Your problem statement must pass a certain test. It must pass the ROC test. The R stands for it must be researchable or doable. The problem can be answered by collecting and analyzing data. The O, it should be original. This has not been done previously, and therefore it will create new knowledge. Well, it can be repetitive study if with new population or passage of time. In other words, we can repeat a past problem to see whether the status quo has remained, things have changed. So when we talk of originality, it may not be totally original. It might be repeating it, or some research was done in a different country. You want to see whether the results of that research applies also in your own country. And the C in our test of ROC is contributory. Your statement, your research must make a difference in your profession, in society. It must make a contribution. Now, a good problem statement has 5 key aspects, which is, what is the problem? What is its magnitude? Where is it? Why is it important? And how can it be investigated? Let's take this 77 words problem statement. It reads, labor turnover at public universities average 100 employees per year. This leads to high separation and replacement costs, which eat into the university's finances. The ultimate result is that on average, 20% of syllabi are not covered, leading to low quality graduates. Reducing staff turnover to 0 is crucial to cost cutting and the production of graduates that satisfy the employer. An empirical study on factors that affect staff retention at public universities is therefore dire need. What is the problem? Labor turnover is the problem. So the first aspect, what's the problem, is covered. Where is the problem? The problem is at public universities. So this, one of the 5 key aspects is covered. What the magnitude of the problem? You can see 100 employees per year, labor turnover. Average 20% of syllabi not covered. This is the magnitude of the problem. Why is it important? You can see that cost cutting and production of graduates that satisfy the employer are necessary. At present, there is high costs at the universities because of labor turnover. The employer, the industry, is not happy with the graduates. Therefore, it's important that we undertake this research. How will the research be carried out? It is an empirical study, data collection, observation, and so in 77 words, we have covered key 5 aspects of a problem statement. What is the problem? Where is the problem? What's the magnitude of the problem? Why is it important? And how will we, will the research be carried out? I want to thank you for watching and listening. In part 2 of this talk, posted elsewhere on this YouTube, I present a step-by-step guide on constructing a statement of the problem. This is the end of my talk. I want to introduce myself. I'm chairman of the African Agribusiness Incubators Network, and I'm also director of MUCMI Consultants. That is AAIN. You can reach AAIN via that site, www.africaain.org. You can also visit my site, www.mucmic.co.ke. There are lots of entrepreneurship sharing, information, talks, indeed, even books. You can purchase them online. Once more, thank you, and let's meet during the second talk, which is again posted elsewhere on this YouTube. Thank you. Thank you.